On January 2nd, 2026, a man walked out of a federal facility in Pennsylvania and into a waiting car. To his neighbors in his new home confinement setup, he looks like any other 30-something tech worker. But this is Ilya Lichtenstein, the man who pulled off the largest single-person heist in human history. For years, we knew him as one half of Bitcoin's Bonnie and Clyde. His wife, Heather Morgan, the viral cringe-inducing rapper known as Razzlekhan, had already been released a few months earlier, in October 2025. Together, they sat on a digital fortune that peaked at over $10 billion. But while Ilya was a master at stealing money, he was surprisingly bad at spending it. Today, we're looking at the full story, from the silent 2016 breach to the Walmart gift card that brought down an empire, and finally, their controversial return to society in 2026. In August 2016, Ilya Lichtenstein pulled off what many thought was impossible, a silent breach of one of the world's largest crypto exchanges, the target. Bitfinex, a massive Hong Kong-based crypto exchange. Bitfinex used a multi-sig security system. To move money, you needed two keys, one from the exchange and one from a security company called BitGo. It was supposed to be foolproof, but Ilya Lichtenstein found a God mode glitch. He didn't just hack a password, he compromised the internal software that authorized these signatures. In a single afternoon, Ilya initiated over 2,000 transactions. He wasn't just taking a slice, he was draining the vault. He stole 119,754 Bitcoin. At the time, Bitcoin was trading at about $600. The haul was worth $70 million, a massive theft, but not world-ending. But then the long hodl began. As the years passed, the value of those stolen coins didn't just grow, it exploded. By 2024, that $71 million was worth $8.8 billion. By early 2026, with Bitcoin hovering near all-time highs, the value of the stolen loot crossed the $10 billion mark. For 6 years, Ilya and Heather lived a surreal double life in a luxury Wall Street apartment, always 2 steps away from exposure. Ilya was the quiet, methodical fintech consultant who moved through Manhattan like a ghost. Head down, hoodie up, blending into a city full of people who all looked like they were working on something important. By day, he built a clean, boring paper trail, consulting calls, LinkedIn updates, conference badges, and vague job titles that sounded legitimate, but revealed nothing. He treated the stolen Bitcoin like radioactive material. He wouldn't cash out too fast. He wouldn't spend too flashy. He built rules, strict ones, about what was safe and what would trigger a bank alert. And then there was Heather, under the alias Razzlekhan. She didn't just want attention, she chased it. She hosted chaotic networking events, posted rap videos, and performed a kind of neon performance art version of the New York hustle. She called herself the infamous Crocodile of Wall Street and tried to turn the city into her stage. Gold foil jackets, overconfident lyrics like "I'm a badass moneymaker," and videos filmed in public like she was daring the universe to recognize her. Their apartment became a split-screen set. In one room, burner phones, encrypted laptops, and endless browser tabs of blockchain explorers and dark web services. In another, ring lights, draft lyrics, half-finished costumes, and ideas for the next persona. This is where the story gets truly bizarre. While Ilya spent nights running peel chains, shattering big piles of crypto into thousands of microtransactions to blur the trail, Heather was building a public brand based on cybersecurity credibility. She wrote columns for Forbes about protecting companies from hackers, talked about privacy like it was a personal mission, and presented herself as a sharp entrepreneurial voice in the tech scene. It was the ultimate hiding in plain sight strategy, except it wasn't even coordinated. Ilya wanted invisibility, Heather wanted virality. He laundered like a professional money cleaner. She performed like an aspiring celebrity. They were laundering billions in the morning and filming TikToks in the afternoon. And somehow for years, the world treated them like just another ambitious New York couple. So how do you catch a billionaire hacker? You don't chase them in a car. You don't kick down a door in the middle of the night. You wait, you watch, and you let the blockchain do what it always does. Remember, for years after the Bitfinex hack, the stolen coins barely moved. It was maddening, like watching a bank robber bury a duffel bag in the desert and then never coming back. Every investigator in the world knew the money was out there, but no one could prove who held the shovel. The break came from a simple truth: even the most patient criminals eventually need to live. federal agents were using Chain Ilias, a blockchain tracking tool that acts like a digital bloodhound. It doesn't see names, it sees patterns. And the pattern was this: when the hackers got restless, they didn't cash out all at once. They did what professionals do. They ran peeled chains. They would take one large chunk of Bitcoin, split it into smaller pieces, then smaller, then send those pieces through hundreds of hops, trying to blur the trail. They used darknet marketplaces. They used crypto services that promised anonymity. They used fake accounts. They used the digital equivalent of gloves. But anonymity isn't a cloak, it's a routine. And routines create mistakes. In 2020, the money started moving with a new purpose: day-to-day spending. The hackers pushed Bitcoin through a darknet market called Alphabay, a place that functioned like a criminal shopping mall. In the laundering world, this is one of the oldest tricks. Mix illegal money into a crowd and hope you come out the other side clean. Then the trail did something almost insulting. They used some of that washed crypto to buy Walmart gift cards. Not a yacht, not a mansion, not a private jet. Gift cards. This was the billion-dollar mistake, because gift cards are where the digital world collides with the physical one. At some point, someone has to type in an email, someone has to log in, someone has to redeem. And when those gift cards were redeemed, investigators found a Walmart account connected to something no Pule chain could erase: Heather Morgan's home internet address. It wasn't a smoking gun, it was a fingerprint. From there, the investigation tightened. Agents began stacking the case the way you build a cage, bar by bar. Real names tied to accounts, devices tied to logins, cloud storage tied to email addresses, travel and purchase histories that didn't match the fintech consultant's story, and then came the moment law enforcement waits for enough evidence to stop watching and start acting. In February 2022, federal agents moved in. They didn't need to catch Ilya Lichtenstein in the act of hacking. They needed to catch him holding the keys. The raid on their apartment wasn't chaos, it was procedure. Agents secured the rooms. They separated Ilya and Heather. They asked the kind of calm questions that make your heart beat louder than your own words. And then they started collecting a life that had been built like a movie set. They found a bag labeled burner phones. They found cash and devices. They found evidence of a couple who lived with one eye on their inbox and the other on the blockchain. But the real treasure wasn't under a mattress, it was in the cloud. Investigators had identified cloud accounts linked to Ilya, and inside one of them, they found what every crypto thief swears will never be found: a file, a sprawling, carefully organized ledger containing wallet addresses, transaction notes, and private keys. The Holy Grail. When the government decrypted and accessed those keys, it was like walking into a vault and discovering the door was still unlocked. They seized the cryptocurrency, $3.6 billion worth at the time, in a single operation. The largest financial seizure in the history of the Department of Justice. Facing the daunting prospect of 20 years in federal prison for his role in the largest single-person financial heist in history, Ilya Lichtenstein made a calculated decision. He flipped. His cooperation was immediate and substantial. Not only did he admit to being the original hacker who executed the 2016 Bitfinex breach, a fact the federal agents had not confirmed until his confession, but he also became a key government witness. His testimony was instrumental in assisting authorities to dismantle and prosecute other major illicit operations, including notorious crypto mixing services like Bitcoin Fog. This level of cooperation was crucial in the eyes of the court. Consequently, in November 2024, the sentencing judge granted Ilya a markedly reduced term of 5 years, acknowledging his comprehensive assistance. His wife, Heather Morgan, received an even shorter sentence of 18 months, as her participation was legally limited to helping conceal the stolen funds after she discovered the crime. As of March 2026, the couple is back. Heather Morgan was released in late 2025 and has since returned to social media, hinting at a book deal and a potential return to creative arts. Ilya, released in January 2026 thanks to the First Step Act, has publicly stated he wants to work in white hat cybersecurity. The government has already begun returning the recovered Bitcoin, now worth billions, to Bitfinex and its victims. The Bitcoin Bonnie and Clyde are no longer billionaires. They are convicted felons on supervised release, but they've secured something perhaps more valuable in today's world, a permanent spot in the Digital Hall of Fame. They pulled off the heist of the century, lost it all for a gift card, and lived to tell the tale.